Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Trans India Real People, Real Emotions. After an interaction with the legendary Mr. Satish Dhingra last week, this week we focus on a youngster who joined the family business after working in France for a significant amount of time. He is highly qualified, believes in perfection, and is a data scientist. Ideally, these are not the right qualities for getting into logistics, but driven by passion, he has already taken his company to greater heights. We are glad to have with us today Tansher Singh, the Director and CEO of ABC Transport Company Private Limited, a company that is a known brand in the parcel service segment. We shot the interview at Tansher's farmhouse in Delhi, and due to fading light, the last few minutes may appear darker. Our apologies for the same, but we hope that Tansher's thoughts, which are very different and radical, will appeal to the transport industry experts as well as other youngsters, and at the same time lighten up the conversation. Right at the start of the interview, Tansher made it very clear that he is going to say politically incorrect things. So here's getting into our conversation with Tansher. Thank you so much for giving us the time, and this beautiful place works well. Tansher, take us through the journey of ABC. When it started, and how has it come to us currently?
So my grandfather, he left Pakistan when he was 2 and he came here with absolutely nothing. He came to Delhi and he bought a hissa in a truck. And that's how ABC was formed. Him along with some Kashmiri Pandit partners, they built this company slowly, step by step by step. And then in 91, they parted with their partners. We got ABC and they made another company called ABC Transport.
Okay.
And that company since then has ceased to exist. But my grandfather and my uncle Inderbir Singh, my father Sukhbir Singh, they took this to a level which is where it stands today. And it's been a long journey, and it's something that I have to take further now.
I mean, I think this would be one of the very few companies who started during the independence time, and it has thrived during this period. Right?
I wouldn't say independence time. It started in the post-91 time, pre-Manmohan Singh time.
Okay.
So it was 1980s around when it was started. You can't really put a date on it because when my grandfather bought the hissa in the truck, that was a ambiguous time.
Okay.
So, but it was in the 80s. So it is one of the oldest, yes, I would say. And yes, I've also heard my stories from my grandfather that earlier all the cargo used to go from Delhi towards central India and then get crossed towards Maharashtra.
Okay.
We were the first to take it from Delhi to straight Maharashtra. We ran the truck direct. That was the first direct line which cut the TAT. Back then we were considering TAT. Wow. So in the 90s we thought about what TAT was, which has become a very interesting word today.
Absolutely.
That service and that name in the trader community. See, we're not in the corporate world right now. We work for a lot of traders. We work for some big companies. We're getting there. But yes, we are, jab bolte hai in parcel business, Delhi Bombay service, they say ABC. So that is something which has become a brand, and I'm very proud of that.
Wow, absolutely. So when did you join the business?
So in 2020, when the COVID time came up, we were suffering a little bit of financial losses, and there was, the company was on the down. So because there was an obvious need for digitalization, and the growth of the company was dependent on that because COVID really forced us to go there. Therefore, I came back from my job, which was in France at the time. I came back to India and I decided to join the family business, which at the time was a very confusing decision, but I'm very happy I did it.
But how easy was it, moving, staying in France, which is a much more organized country, much more cleaner country, coming to India where everything seems to be in a mess around you?
I'm going to say something politically incorrect, and I'm going to keep saying politically incorrect things today because that's how I am. I don't like France so much as a country because they have way too many rules, regulations, and sometimes some of them are good, no doubt. But some of them are there for the sake of doing things. And the ease of doing business is much harder in Europe than it is to do in India. So because of, Modi ji's fantastic policies, India is becoming an exciting and a fantastic place to be. And I think that we really need to retain the smart people here. And I'm really glad I came back here, frankly. And I think it was easy for me to adjust because people are more real in India. You find a lot of people doing lip service in Europe. Like they'll say we care about the environment, but they'll fly first class. Now come on, let's be real about it. Let's not do lip service. Highest per capita, very high levels of per capita carbon emissions, but then they talk down to India. Okay, why are you guys emitting carbon? Hang on, like this is exactly what our foreign minister said. Stop lecturing us. We need to become, Atmanirbhar Bharat. We need to become self-dependent, and I feel like India is a very real country. Everything you see is real human emotions. What's in the heart is on the mouth. You don't see this much in Europe.
Tansher, I was going through your LinkedIn profile, and one of the lines in the introduction said data science.
Okay.
What is data science all about, and how relevant is it for the logistics industry?
Okay, this is a very good question. I did data science. I did econometrics when I was in university. I love econometrics. So econometrics is essentially you take the economy as a general and you find trends in it. You take big data. You take like interest rates, how interest rates affects purchasing power and general overall trends. So you find it's a mixture of statistics and computer science as well as proper business analysis. Therefore, you're able to identify trends, you're able to see forecasts, you're able to find a confidence level in which you can make a prediction about the future. That is data science in a whole. But when you say data science, people are like AI, ML. 90% of AI, ML is that's useless. You don't use that. Data science is basically 95% of it is just to visualize the data. Let's visualize the data and understand what can be done. So now let me tell you how it's relevant in the trucking industry. A truck currently and cargo currently is a mother load of data. Okay, you understand the consumption data, you have on which cargo how much fuel is consumed, on which tires how much fuel is consumed, what is the confidence level in which you can make a decision based on, let's say if I increase my capex by putting tubeless tires, how much I can reduce my CPKM, and that is a cost benefit equation. Every single thing in logistics and trucking is a cost benefit equation. And all of this can be solved with good data analysis. I think it's very important to study data. I mean, I write data science over there, although I'm out of data science for a while. I would love to hire data scientists in my team to study my data and give insights, because I'm sure you can save cost per kilometer and also increase revenue per kilometer just by analyzing the data that our truck produces and our sales data. It's fantastic.
Tansher, your profile also mentioned that you are logically minded perfectionist.
Yes.
Now, how does that quality fit into a segment where perfection is way away from it?
See, that's a very good question. I'm logically minded because I feel like everything is a yes or no decision. At the end of the day, I like to analyze situations in a very, unemotional way. That being said, yes, you're right. Logistics makes you very emotional. It stresses you out. It's very imperfect. I love challenges, and a perfectionist in an imperfect world is the ultimate challenge. See, like I'll get a little philosophical. The ultimate question in life is, what's our purpose? We don't have one. So if you are a perfectionist working in an imperfect world, you find a purpose there. I want to work really hard in order to make the business that I run and the industry in general closer to perfection, to bring order to chaos. I love to bring order to chaos.
Okay.
I would say, my purpose in life, I like to bring order to chaos.
Excellent. So, was joining family business a very conscious choice, if I may put it that way?
See, somewhere at the back of my subconscious mind, even though I spent some time in Europe and worked there, and I could have had a decent living wage there, I would have had a great life there. Somewhere at the back of my mind, I always wanted to, and I always knew I had to. It was a responsibility that would have fallen on my shoulders, because we're not a very professionally run company. We're kind of professional, kind of promoter driven, and as are most trucking companies. No matter how you look at it, I feel like almost every company which is a big trucking company, I would say with a few exceptions like VRL or whatnot, they are all promoter driven. So I knew that someone has to take on this burden, and yes, somewhere I knew I will join this business, but I wanted to also educate myself first, understand the world first, and have a boss who's not my dad for some time. That's really important. I would recommend everyone does that. Really important.
So, Tansher, what was your first impression of the transport industry? Especially since you come from a background where things have been very, very different.
So my first impression of the transport industry was, of course, my business. And when I entered my business, I realized that a lot of it was very manual process driven, very, very manual process driven. And It was a bad impression to begin with for the first 2 years, but it was something I needed to learn with patience. And after that, I realized that there's a lot of scope also. It's very lucrative business as well. And, people don't think it's a lucrative business, but in trucking you can make a lot of money if you organize the operations well and if you're good at your revenue optimization. So I realized that if I can fix this and bring order to my chaotic company, I can really grow it, and in terms of margins as well as volumes.
So what changes have you brought in?
Firstly, I've stopped listening to people as much as I've started reading data. It's very important. So, it's very important to get feedback from people as well as analyzing the data and then making a decision. Any manager needs to do both those things. So I brought in a lot of changes in wherein we were able to capture this data. So we were able to make decisions based on that data. So I would say that I brought in an ERP, which I think you cannot run trucking without anymore. Then we optimized and digitized some processes. We started a digital LR, which is a very useful thing. We don't need to send our loading boys everywhere. And we built in these locks in our systems. Those locks help us, be hands off. So that helps us to, manage operations in a much smooth way. We brought in a big tracking team. There's about 10 people now. There's 24-hour tracker trucks, and there's always sunwai of the drivers. Earlier there was not so much sunwai, so I'm very glad that my drivers can now have somebody they can call. It's like an internal call center. We treat our drivers like internal customers.
How much does it help the company?
See, it comes over a long period of time. The benefits of these kind of changes. These are cultural and structural changes, and it has helped us grow our turnover. It also has helped us grow our bottom line. So the changes are coming. We are able to see the results now. Earlier it looked like a big expense, but now we are seeing, in terms of quantity, you can see the balance sheets online and MCA whatnot. But yes, it has helped us in many ways.
Friends, we are in conversation with Tansher Singh, the Director and CEO of ABC Transport Company Private Limited. We will continue our interaction with Tansher after this very short break and know more about how the company is managing its drivers and what Tansher feels about drivers shortage. See you on the other side of this break. You are watching Trans India, real people, real emotions.
महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका ब्लेजो एक्स सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देता है, वरना कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस।
सॉरी अजय, महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो है। एक्शन।
महिंद्रा गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका फ्यूरियो सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देता है, नहीं तो
एक्चुअली जयो, महिंद्रा जयो है, थोड़ा चेंज है। एंड एक्शन।
महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका जियो सबसे चल क्या रहा है यहाँ पे?
मैम, ये चारों ट्रक ज्यादा माइलेज देते हैं, चारों।
तो ऐसा बोलो ना, ब्लेजो एक्स, फ्यूरियो, फ्यूरियो 7 और जयो। महिंद्रा के ये सभी ट्रक्स देते हैं सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज की गारंटी, नहीं तो कर दीजिए इन्हें वापस। महिंद्रा, देश की सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देने वाली ट्रक रेंज।
Welcome back, friends. You are watching Trans India, real people, real emotions, and we are in conversation with Tansher Singh.
What's your current fleet strength?
We have a little over 170 trucks right now.
And number of...
And these are line haul trucks.
Okay. And what about the number of drivers?
So some trucks have double drivers and some have single. So I would say 220, 250 drivers.
So the drivers are now being well taken care of.
Yeah, it's extremely important to well take care of drivers, and you have to treat them like humans, most importantly. And very importantly, and this is where I differ from industry people, stop micromanaging them. If you've given them a, कि यहाँ से यहाँ जाना है इतना डीजल में, you don't tell them रात को मत चलाओ, ये मत करो, वो मत करो. Let them. They are independent. They have joined this profession because they want to be free on the roads. One needs to understand that. So that's why I am not a big supporter of driver relays. Driver has to love his truck. When he has, this is transport is a business of ownership. The more people you have who have ownership, the more successful your company is. So drivers need to have ownership of their truck. They're like, ये मेरी गाड़ी है, मैं इसको set करूँगा, इससे मैं कमाता हूँ. I give my drivers an extra $10,000 when they get on the truck to सजाओ the truck.
Okay.
Yeah, just like आप अपने तरीके से AC लगाओ, क्या कराओ, इसमें fan लगाओ, it's your money. So the drivers feel like it's their truck. You have to tell them, 10 साल ये गाड़ी नहीं छोड़नी, ये आपकी गाड़ी है. आपके नाम चाबी कर दी, जब तक मैं चाबी नहीं लूँगा, ये आपकी गाड़ी है. He has to have that ownership. That's it. Don't micromanage them after that. Give them the payments on time. and they will do wonders for your company. Simple as that.
Have you ever faced driver shortage, especially after getting these, the things in place?
See, everybody faces driver shortage from time to time. It's some drivers, I'm very grassroots rooted, so I understand what happens on the ground. जब खेती का season होता है, all drivers go home and do खेती. So that is something we face a shortage at that time. When monsoon comes, we have the first drivers used to say, "Babuji, 30 liter ज़्यादा खा ली है." Now I can actually check the data and say actually खा रही है. So, you can actually say in the monsoon drivers don't earn as much because the diesel consumption is higher. It's dead serious. I just went to Goa and I saw the khaddas on the highway. By road I went in. I realized yes, genuinely, इस घाट पे तो 3 की average ही देगी. So you have to you have to give that extra money to the driver. You have to trust the driver. Drivers are not always trying to steal from you. That's a very important thing. And because of that, we've reduced our driver shortages. Although it's still there, there's no doubt, but we have reduced it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Tansher, what are the typical challenges that the industry faces today, and what could be the probable solutions for that?
So again, you pointed out the first biggest problem. It's driver shortage, and I believe this driver shortage exists in North India. I don't think it's so much in South India, because in South India the drivers are respected more, and there are many educated drivers. So again, on my road trip, I found out that there were smart guys who even had the laptops in their trucks with them. Seriously. Now those might have been single gadi maliks. I don't know, but I saw one guy and I was shocked. I was like, this is incredible. And that's why in North India, I think we don't treat our drivers as well as transporters. And I think I'm not going to blame the people who pay us the freight, but there's going to be a significant rise in freight rates because of the driver shortage, because drivers are going to have to get paid higher than they are paying. We are paying our drivers very well. And it's important to keep paying your drivers very well. And if there's an extra consumption in the truck, you give that money to the driver. Don't treat him like a tu chor hai. That's it. If you see, एक हाथ बढ़ाओगे तो वो भी हाथ बढ़ाएगा, right? You don't have to. We say drivers like that. It's an unholy equilibrium. We have to end this unholy equilibrium, and we have to take the onus because we have the resources. They don't.
That mutual respect has to be there somehow.
So start from us, not from them. Only when we respect them, then we can say, "आप क्यों नहीं respect वापस दे रहे?" We don't respect them, and then we say drivers are like this. That's not fair, na. We are the ones with the resources. We should start respecting them first.
So apart from driver shortage, what other issues do you think the industry is facing?
I don't think there are many issues the industry is facing. Their trucks have gotten more expensive. BS6 is difficult to maintain. I don't like the norms that they are putting in. I don't like the fact that they're going to put insurance based on how the truck drives. I don't like the fact that the government, see, Modi ji makes excellent laws, excellent policies, but the guys who implement them really misuse them. They misuse them badly. So as long as our enforcement is not just, there's going to be a problem. I know a bunch of truckers who do overloading. I've heard about that. So this breaks the equilibrium in our market. It penalizes the honest guys out there. तो शैतान को पैसा मिलता है. That's not fair. And that's the challenge. That's why we cannot modernize.
Do you think there is a need for a standardization in the transport industry, or SOPs which have to be followed across the board?
SOPs coming from where? Like, how do you mean? Do you mean by more rules? I think no. I think you need to deregularize. You need to make rules, few of them, but enforce those rules properly. Instead of making 100 rules where the babus earn money from those rules, you make 10 rules, but you enforce those properly and legally. There is rules that you have to have these in the truck, you have to have this in the truck. Not a single trucker has those in the truck. Babus have that, ke haan, entry there. This is the problem. Make a simple law, follow that law, and then make the next law. Make sure the enforcement happens of that law. It's very important. Instead of making laws, it's very easy to make laws. But
I remember you saying some time back that trucking is a profitable business. It was quite a bold statement, because the truckers that I've been talking to, most of the guys, they said, we are hardly making a wafer thin margin, profits have shrunk, our costs are going up. Can you elaborate on this profitable trucking business?
See, they are right. Margins are shrinking. That being said, if you can pay your EMI off in 5 years, then you're a profitable company. That's still a very decent margin that you're making. I think truckers want to make a margin on top of the EMI. Now that's too tough. Like let's be real. After 5 years, that the asset value is still your truck, right? You're claiming the depreciation. You're getting all of that. So I think that if you run a truck very efficiently, you can make about a 28% EBITDA. Okay, and let's say you have 8% depreciation, 6%, 7% interest cost, 3-4%, whatever other costs here and there. You can still make a decent 9%. and that's quite stable margin. So I feel like it's a decent business, and you can easily scale it up. So you need to be able to, you don't have many businesses that are stable, essential, and at the same time with a decent margin, and the rotation of money is quite fast. You get that money within 30 days. So I would say it's a good business to get into if you can organize it.
And Tansher, from what we've been seeing traditionally is that parcel business is more lucrative compared to a full load business. Would you agree with that?
See, parcel business is not trucking. I think someone very interesting, his name is Mr. Syal. I think now he's in Safe Express. I had a call with him the other day. He told me that running trucks and filling trucks are two different businesses. Don't conflate these two. I would say parcel business is a booking business where you hire a truck, and running trucks is a different business. I have both of those businesses, so I am able to make the comparison. Parcel business is an excellent business. It is a fantastic business because again you can optimize the weight and volume of the truck over there. So let's say I hire a truck from Delhi to Mumbai for 75,000. Let's say it's a 24-tonner truck. I can put heavy cargo of 12 tons and then put lightweight cargo on top of it, which I book in volumetric weight. Therefore, I'm able to make an excellent report. In our Parchun Bhasha, you call it report achhi bana di. So that's how you optimize a lorry hire. But then the truck profit is a separate profit, and then the booking profit is a separate profit. But yes, it's a lucrative business. Again, you need volume in it to survive.
And I think ABC specializes in parcel load. You
Yes.
made a name for yourself in this segment, right?
Yes, I would say when it comes to Delhi, Bombay parcel load, we are quite a famous name out there. We have a very good TAT, so we are able to get a cargo from Delhi to Mumbai and Mumbai to Delhi within about 60 hours door to door, and that even 50 kilos to 20 tons, we can do it. And we have a very good delivery network between these two cities. We have warehouses in small pockets within every trading community. So that's a completely different business. Now our trucks are employed in that business that help run this business. But that is a completely different thing. Yes, we are quite an established name in the part load business, and we are planning to scale this business in the entire Northwest. The part trucking business, yes.
The one thing that the youngsters have infused in the road transport business is technology. So how much technology is Tansher using in his company? We continue our conversation after this very short break. You are watching Trans India, real people, real emotions.
महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका ब्लेजो एक्स सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देता है, वरना कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस।
सॉरी अजय, महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो है। एक्शन।
महिंद्रा गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका फ्यूरियो सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देता है, नहीं तो
एक्चुअली जयो, महिंद्रा जयो है, थोड़ा चेंज है। एंड एक्शन।
महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका जियो सबसे चल क्या रहा है यहाँ पे?
मैम, ये चारों ट्रक ज्यादा माइलेज देते हैं, चारों।
तो ऐसा बोलो ना, ब्लेजो एक्स, फ्यूरियो, फ्यूरियो 7 और जयो। महिंद्रा के ये सभी ट्रक्स देते हैं सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज की गारंटी, नहीं तो कर दीजिए इन्हें वापस। महिंद्रा, देश की सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देने वाली ट्रक रेंज।
Welcome back, friends. You are watching Trans India, real people, real emotions, and we are in conversation with Tansher Singh, the CEO and Director of ABC Transport Company Private Limited.
We'll of course come to your future plans in a while. Tansher, how much has technology helped the road transport industry? We've been seeing a lot of transformation.
I think technology has been it's been incredible for us to grow. We are understanding how much fuel our truck consumes. Apart from the data our truck sends us, as I talked about earlier, new technologies such as tubeless tires, these are being adopted by us. So out of 150 trucks, 50 of us are on tubeless tires today. And we see a 10% lower fuel consumption because of these. So that's quite a bit. It leads a significant difference in our TCO. It pays for my tires essentially, the amount of fuel savings. So you save about 3 rupees a kilometer and my tires about 2 rupees a kilometer. To end of the day, I made money from my tires rather than lost. So these are technologies that are coming up, and I would invite people to research these technologies more. Domex trucks, for example, Domex body trucks are lightweight trucks. You can have a 1 ton extra passing in that. So all of these are interesting technologies, and they're coming up today, and there's a lot more awareness today. So you can really adopt these.
What about the BS6 trucks, and now we are looking at EVs as well?
Yes.
How do you think the future pans out in terms of the vehicles?
I think vehicles are getting over-regulated. In Canada, you have these cameras where drivers are allowed to drive only a few hours a day. There is no shortcut to growing them without burning coal. These guys burnt their coal and had their industrial revolutions and built their entire systems, their welfare state. Now when it comes to our turn, we have to have these kind of niyams. I think that in a poor country like India, where inflation is a huge problem and garibi is a huge problem, me having to give that 3,000 rupees extra urea from Delhi to Bombay is going to increase the freight of rice, which is going to increase the price of rice, which is going to have to, some people are going to stay hungry because of that. That is very difficult. I think the government needs to wake up to these things, and we need to have our own policies when it comes to this. Look at our per capita carbon emissions. It's way below the world. Why should we have to follow the same rules as the world? We should have that cap. If we are below that cap, why do we have to enforce these policies? I feel that there is no shortcut to growth, and there is always a trade-off. This greenflation is a big problem right now, and I feel like if it was up to me, I would not have BS6. I would continue with BS4 and undercomplicate things rather than overcomplicate things.
In fact, I have always been writing, that India is rushing for BS6. We are not ready for it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, but I think our transport ministry thinks otherwise.
See, it's a trade-off. It's a cost benefit. You lose some, you win some. You can have a greener environment which will help maybe 100 years later or maybe 50 years later. But currently there's people hungry, no? So I think the cost benefits outweighs the benefits in terms of BS6 for India, where we stand today. Might be good for Germany, might be good for Europe. Go ahead, do it. But don't force us, because we still to industrialize.
What about EVs? Do you think EVs would be relevant in the commercial vehicle space?
I'm frankly not so educated on the EV space right now. But if I was to, just ballpark it, diesel is here to stay for at least another 20 years. I feel this. That's my personal gut feeling. But I think hydrogen might become more relevant from what I've done in my research. I'm not so educated on that space, so I wouldn't like to comment on it.
Jay, how much does infrastructure development help the transport business, apart from the toll burden? That's a separate issue, but in terms of operations, in terms of vehicle maintenance?
I mean, hats off to Gadkari Saab. I would love to meet him if you're watching. Please. He's done a fantastic job with the roads. I mean, we are proud of our nation today. I mean, Modi ji has also made us very proud of our nation today. It's a fantastic thing that how we're proud to be Indians today, and it's a lot to do with our infrastructure development. So, yes, it's helped us. Our tires are running longer. Our fuel efficiency is better because of better roads. Accident ratio is lesser. So, yes, it's been fantastic for us. It's been great, and I really hope that it continues.
Apart from better roads, do you think there is a need for better facilities for drivers on the highways?
See, everything is... policies don't create these kind of things. If the driver demands it, the facilities will come up. We live in a free market, and I hope we continue to do so. See, if there was a demand for, drivers want dhabas. Those dhabas exist. What else do you want for drivers? If you're thinking that we sitting in a 24-degree office are going to design something for a driver who drives in 42 degrees, then we're wrong. We need to understand that the driver, if he wants something, he'll demand it. And we are understanding what our drivers demand, we are giving them right now. Drivers want freedom. Drivers want freedom. That's it. They want to be able. So if there's a hotel, that kind of hotel, they will stop to that hotel. Somebody out there will understand the driver's need and build that facility for the driver, because we live in a free market. Right. At our end, at our hubs, we understood what drivers want and we built those things. We built a waiting room, we give them fooding, all those kind of things are important. So we've done those things. But when it comes to the government making facilities for drivers, please do so, but do it with research. Understand the driver first. Don't listen to some think tanks. Understand, go to the ground level. That's very important.
So Tansher, what are the future plans of ABC from here on? Where do you see the company, let's say 5 years from now?
So I've envisioned this. I would love to grow my part truckload business, which is my booking business. Whereas fleet is concerned, I want to stay stagnant at around a 200 mark. I don't think growing beyond that currently is a smart decision, because it's much more profitable to build a cargo business than it is to build a trucking business. When I say profitable, I mean headache to money ratio. And very frankly, I don't want that much profit. I don't care about making that much money. I want to have a little bit of a relaxed life as well, have some other investments here and there. So 5 years later, I would love to work on my branding. I would love to work on my processes. I would love to work on my part load processes and, build a very special product within part load, which is not just a service-based company, but a product-based company, something that I can command the price rather than go say, Bauji, maal de do. No, it's like the cargo should come to my doorstep, like an Apple product. Apple doesn't need to do its sales. It doesn't have salesmen. People come into an Apple store. I want to build a part truckload business which is both profitable and at the same time saving India's part load logistics cost. So I want to pilot this in the Northwest in the next 5 years. And after that, take it wherever else.
Do you see any challenges en route to this mission?
I wish I could find an excellent tech partner who understands our business from the internals. And once I spoke to Spot On about this, I was like, help us with tech. And they're like, no, your turnover is too small right now. We'll come when you're 100 crore plus in part load. I was like, yeah, okay. But at the same time, I'm sure we'll be able to grow it with a very good amount of tech in the part load, space and volume optimization space. You can build a very, very profitable business. And when we make those extra margins, we plan to pass it on to the customers. We don't want that money. As I said, I don't want to make a lot of money. I like to solve problems. So, I want to build a very nice product. And I think tech is the challenge for that right now.
Finally, do you think road transport is a very good space to be in currently?
I think it's an excellent space. I can send you a WhatsApp photo right now. It comes on your phone. As long as we can't do that with cargo, road transport will be valuable. Every single thing around you in this house, everything has come on a truck here. Everything has been on a truck at some point in their life. So, definitely road transport is a great place to be. As India grows, road transport will grow. We're going to see about 10% growth in the next 10 years, I assume. So, it's the only industry for sure that 10 saal baad bhi rahegi. You can't say that for sure for many other industries. So, it's a good place to be.
Thank you so much, Tansher. It was a pleasure.
Well, viewers, that was our interaction with Tansher Singh, who brings about a very different perspective of the road transport business. Some may agree to disagree with him, but no one can deny the fact that road transport as an industry has a bright future. We will be back again next week with another interesting interaction. The newly elected president of All India Motor Transport Congress, Mr. Amrit Madan, and former president of AIMTC, Malkeet Singh Bal, tell us about the plans to take up various issues of the road transport industry. So see you again next week. But don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until next week, stay safe. Jai Hind.